You see, they have great vision in the day. They have even better vision at night. But in the failing light, they can't focus. Magic hour.
All right. Welcome to RPG Booms, the Twilight Hour. This is Don French 3. And I wanted to address, I'm a little overdue, the Dungeon Tube, dying of Dungeon Tube that Professor DM kind of popularized 3 weeks ago. Very interestingly enough, he took the video down. I'm not really sure why. But I think some of the things I just wanted to talk about as somebody who hasn't been streaming very long, YouTuber, I'm part of the Dungeon Tubers, I guess, is how to maybe approach this idea of how many views you're supposed to get. And I wanted to do some basic analytics, at least stuff that I've looked at when I look at channels versus views, just to see where you might think, your views are coming from, or how to improve your views, or, why do people even go to your channel? I know that Professor Dungeon Master was getting a little annoyed. I can no longer find the video, like I said, but he was getting annoyed because it's supposed to be here. So this is his page. It was done around 3 weeks ago, but as you can see, the video doesn't exist. But if you go to vidIQ and scroll down, you can clearly see down here that he deleted it. I'm not sure why he did that. I think he should have kept it up. I know it was a little controversial. Maybe people give him a little bit of a hard time, but who cares, man? Just tell how it is, Professor. And by the way, I miss Angry Professor. That someone told him to smile more, and I actually miss his kind of grumpy, grooving-looking face. He was always kind of upset, usually about stuff. So anyway, so what I wanted to do was kind of, he mentions that he didn't feel like people were only looking at the videos that had clickbait titles, and he was really annoyed with that situation, and he essentially started getting rid of his crafting videos, which I really found useful back in the day. I actually used some of his tiling methods and created my own dungeons and stuff like that. But the one thing I wanted to bring to people's attention, in case you're out there and you're a brand new YouTuber and you're not even sure if you really want to do this stuff. I know my picture's a little offset, my camera's a little off. I'm a little worried that if I tweak this camera, it's going to disconnect. So I'm just not going to mess with it. You're going to have to deal with the half face. So I wanted to just show you some popular YouTube channels, and to kind of think about, where the viewerships come from and why people even click on your video, and is it clickbait, and do you need to have clickbait videos? Now, I freaking hate clickbait videos, right? Like, you click on them, and the title page doesn't even tell you anything of what's going to happen, right? So I feel like the title page or even this little description should give you a reason to click on it. But lately, you see these titles like, he did this, or you won't believe what came out of this. And I really don't like that. So I like what, Professor Dungeon Master, Professor DM does here. You can clearly see that he's showing a module of some kind, and it's a review, right? So you know what you're getting there. Now, he was talking about click and how to get more clicks, or he wasn't getting enough clicks on certain videos. So he saw that his viewership was dropping also. And, it could be attributed to the competition that's out there. But I also think there's just a number of clicks you're going to get and why people chose your channel. And that is not based on subscriber numbers. So I want to just quickly show you a couple of things. So everybody probably knows this. By the time 72 hours hits after you publish a video, it starts dying off. I mean, you still get some views, but it starts dying off. So if you're not hitting in those first 72 hours, it basically stops recommending your videos, right? And that's like, for some reason, you have a very popular subject and there's something big going on, like the OGL scandal. Maybe you'll continue to get clicks. So I wanted to point at some of Professor Dungeon Master's videos and why you can actually look at, hey, let's look at a ratio. How many subscribers does he have? And how many views did that actual video get? And then think about the kind of subject the video is about. Now, if you look at these top 4 videos here, you can see that he's got 31, 44, 28K. And then this final one about Frankenstein here 1 month ago got 12K. So that's pretty low, right? So let's do a little quick formula here. So we're going to take 12K and divide it by his number of subscribers. That's 150K. And we get about an 8% viewership if you were to believe that, 8% of all his viewers actually come see this video. But let's look at these other ones here. 31K, right? So 31 divided by 150. And that's going to give you about 20. So he's getting, based on views versus subscribers, there's an 8 to 20% viewership, right? And again, it's just a number. It's just a way to mathematically look at things. There's no real correlation. We don't know if all the views are actually from his subscribers, but it's a way to measure how many views you're getting based on the number of subscribers you have. And is there a correlation? And so what I want to do now is, like, why did this Frankenstein get only 12K view? It's very low for him. I mean, for me, that would be amazing. But I think it's because of the subject matter. Most people do not care about Frankenstein, or we've heard it, done it. He also has some other videos that actually show an entire Frankenstein campaign or scenario that you can run. But then look at something like his Critical Role video down here, 190K. So we already know Critical Role is a huge show, and he's going to get Matt Mercer, one of the top DMs, and who doesn't love the Brobarian here, Travis Willingham. So you can see his viewership jumps up to 190K. But if you look at all these 31, 44, 39, 33, 36, 22, 27, you can see his viewerships across the board are pretty much, in that range. And this holds true for some of the other most popular channels, right? So if we look at, we saw that 8% to 20%. So here's Dungeon Dudes. They have 523K subscribers. This is 12 days ago, so now it's been past that prime time. Actually, this show was really good. Let's look at another video. Let's look at this one. I don't know. Well, actually, you can look at Kloss. It's 20K, 4K. All of a sudden, there's a 5K, and it's just basically somebody talking about the episode. You can see that didn't really get the views, but 29K. Again, anytime they're discussing what happened at Wood Creek, the viewership drops. But in general, they're getting anywhere between 20 to 30K videos on their videos, on their 20 to 30K views on their videos. So again, let's just plug in that number. Let's pick one of the higher ones. Let's do 29 divided by 523. And that gives us about 5% viewership based on views to subscribers, right? So again, this is within that range, right? 5, 8%, maybe up to 20% if you're lucky. So let's just drop down. Okay, 40, 45, 45K, 37K, 65K. So actually one of the first few episodes, right? So 79K for the second episode of Wood Creek, 19K. So it picked up a little popularity here. So this tells us a lot in terms of what kind of videos people are interested in looking at, right? And then here, 64K. People really like this grading system, right? So you can tell that people who come to the Dungeon Dudes channels are interested in these type of hierarchy for different classes and powers and stuff like that, which is how I actually fell upon these guys, is looking at the way they were describing different types of classes and how to power game, essentially. Let's go to Jenny D, the lovely Jenny D. We can see here she has 873 subscribers. This video's been around for 2 weeks. That's 118. So let's just do that math again. 118 divided by 873. And you're going to see this number stays pretty consistent, right? So now this one's 13%. And here's 150. So if we just try that, 150. Why did this 150 video, why did this get 150 views? Well, what's the subject matter about? Who's in the front? So it jumps up a couple percentages, but you can see from 118 to 150. What is she talking about? She's talking about the Mighty Nine. Again, Critical Role related. And you can see that's where the viewerships are going to bump up. Jenny D is just awesome. But you can see all the different views here. She gets to have Deborah Ann Wool. That's going to boost your ratings there, boost your viewerships. But you can see in general, we got 120. Oh, here's some good ones too. Oh, Yeah, this one's really good. So you can see she gets really high hits, 258K. Let's do that again, 258K. I believe this one, she gets really good viewership. Divided by 873. And now we're looking at around 30%. So I did say, I think I said 8 to 20. This is really high viewership in some of her videos, but that kind of gives you an idea based on your subscribers, rough estimate of what you might get depending on the popularity, what your thumbnails look like, you know, how good of a following you have. Here's Tramp Monk. Again, we have 104K subscribers, 29, 13, 18. These numbers are, so we're getting anywhere between 18 and 35K views on all his videos. That's going to automatically tell you, right? So let's just pick, is it 18 to 35? So let's just pick 25K, right? 25K divided by 104. That's pretty much going to be a 25%, right? There you go, 24%. So he's getting a decent viewership all the time based on his subscriber numbers as well as the types of views, right? So his views divided by his subscribers is giving us a percentage, and that's falling within that range. We can look at D&D Shorts, really funny, great channel as well. He's got 552K subscribers. This video is 6 days, so I might still be getting some hits, and he got some really good stuff. Vecna, maybe, you know, we know Stranger Things, Vecna, the whole situation, and guess what he does? He makes a video about it. People are interested. He's getting a much higher viewership. This is pushing around 45% viewership, right? If you look at his other videos, 95, 87, 105. Well, he got really good viewerships for his Tank Wizard, which sounds interesting in general, right? So you might be interested in Tank Wizard, but some of the other ones are all pushing between 70, 80, 100, right? So again, that gives you an estimate of exactly what you might get. Same thing with RuneSmith. He's got 65K, 400,000-ish subscribers. Mathematically do that. We got 65. Let's do a 55 divided by 396. Boom, 13%, right? So it's falling within that range. And the bottom line is that, you know, depending on the subject matter, if you're trying to create, you know, looking at controversial things, you're going to get a lot of hits. And if you're going to do crafting videos, there's a certain subgroup of your viewers that are going to want to see the crafting videos. And I think that's basically, there's really no death of Dungeon 2. This thing's going to keep going, right? There's too many RPG systems going out. D&D is not dying. It's going to last forever unless we, the Dungeon Masters and other creators, somehow start boosting other people's products. But everybody knows D&D is going to give you the most clicks. But at the end of the day, even Dungeon Craft had to get rid of their Dungeon Tube is dying video, or at least he did. I wish he didn't. Be proud, sir. Be proud. And I just wanted to say, you know, as a new YouTuber, you know, if we look at a list of channels, if we just put tabletop role-playing games, we see that sometimes we get these sponsored ads, which means people are paying to have their thumbnails seen, right? Here we're looking at a video that's 309 views from 8 months ago, so it peaked out pretty early. And who knows, you know, this thumbnail obviously not the greatest, but at least you're getting some information out of it just by looking at it. And again, here's Roll20. No one's going to watch this video unless Roll20 puts it out there and you're interested in it. And so the bottom line is sometimes, you know, and I've seen this in tons of like how to be a better YouTuber thing. They change their thumbnails. They start advertising their stuff. YouTube is a business. They're making money from not only their advertisers or people who want to put ads in, but YouTubers themselves. And at the end of the day, if you happen to have a certain number of subscribers, if you can get it really high, you're going to get a certain percentage of viewership. And I'd say that's around 15%. And if your stuff is engaging and they stick with you for anywhere between 30 to 80% of the time, you're going to get that viewership. You're going to make that money. But at the end of the day, you're working with the numbers. You're playing against the numbers. Your channel has to be interesting enough to have people want to be a part of it, join it, and then you're going to get those views. As long as your stuff is always good and you're not lazy and you continue to make decent subjects. And that's it. I wanted to double tap that Dungeon Tube is dying. I don't think it is dying. If you're getting decreased viewership, Professor, or anybody out there, It has to do with the viewers and what they're there to see. There's a little bit of clickbait to it. You also want to make sure you're not making complete clickbait. Make sure the video is what it's supposed to be about. And there's a craft here. I'm not an expert here, but some of these guys obviously do it better than others. Some of them are very well scripted. You see no images of them. Or if you look at their eyes, they're reading something on the side, right? They're looking up and they're just going back, right, back, right. Now, if you see me, I shoot from the hip. None of my stuff is scripted. Every once in a while, I might bullet point something because I won't have these ideas. But it's me just taking takes, going through it, and you'll notice I have a lot of errors in my videos just because I just spit it out. And I'm a busy man. I'm a one-man army. I edit it. I make it as best as I can, and I put it out there. And hey, by the way, thank you for all the subscribers, all the recent subscribers. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys coming. If I could ever someday get someone to help me out in the future, I think I'll be able to produce a lot more videos. A little bit better quality even maybe. But in the meantime, thank you for stopping by. Dungeon Tube, the final thoughts, double tap, hitting that thing when it's dead. And I want to close it out just by showing this video. I'm pretty sure we're not going to get audio, but this is a double tap from Conan the Destroyer. If you haven't seen this, you're missing out. You're actually screwing up a little bit. Check it out real quick. And you can see where the video is, so you can actually look it up and get the full audio. That. Ripping off the horns. 1800 strength. Got this Conan. Look at these guys just watching. Come on. Help a brother out. Everybody's just watching. Oh, look at that dagger go up. Here we go. Okay. Oh, crap. He ripped the horn out of my head. Get him hold on to it. And oh, snap. Tosses it. Here we go. The kill. This is Professor Dungeon Master. Right now, going in for the kill. At least, talking about YouTube. Dungeon Tube death. Get it? Professor DM, get it? Yeah, disgusting. Beautiful and disgusting. Yes, Professor DM. And me, here I come. RPG Boons. Getting that double tap, baby. All right. That's Don Franco 3 RPG Boons, the Twilight Hour. Thank you for stopping by. Final thoughts on that double tap. Dungeon 2 death. And I